be your guide today. As I said, it's going to take us about 2 weeks to get out to Africa because we're on a truck that only goes 8 miles an hour. And it doesn't do too well with the water, so we'll figure out the whole ocean thing here in a minute. We do have some housekeeping before we begin our journey. It's extremely important to remain seated at all times, even if this truck were to stop. That also goes for anyone who may be sitting in your lap. They got to stay in your lap. Additionally, folks, that truck is so loud. Additionally, folks, please keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside of this truck at all times, especially if we were to encounter an endangered species of animal. And lastly, if something were to fall from this truck, please don't get out of this truck trying to get it back. Just wait until the end, take a picture of where it's at, let me know, we'll do our best to help you get it back. As we like to say here, Twin Day, which means let's go! We all must have blinked at the same time because it's been 2 weeks. Welcome to Africa. This is the little Ituri Forest. Animals who like to live in this type of ecosystem are usually pretty good at camouflage. So if you ever see something I don't see, not just in here but anywhere throughout our journey, it's okay to talk to me. Give me a holler. I'll do my best to talk about it.
Zebra!
A zebra? Oh, that is not a zebra, but that is an okapi. For the longest time, they were actually called the African unicorn because natives here in Africa rarely ever saw them. And on the left side there, that is the saddle-billed stork. I'll get to them in a second. It wasn't until Western science came along in the early 1900s to start learning more about the okapi. They actually found out that though they look like a zebra, they're actually a relative of the giraffe. That is an endangered species of animal, mainly due to deforestation and loss of habitat. But they do have, which makes them the last living relative of the giraffe. That beautiful bird that we passed back there, that was the saddle-billed stork. And this brown one over here, that is the bongo. The saddle-billed stork does get its name from that tiny little patch of yellow on top of its beak. Kind of looks like a tiny little saddle, kind of like the little saddle I bought my cat for Halloween who refuses to wear it. That's okay, such is the nature of an animal. If they don't want to do something, you can't make them do it. It's important to keep these types of ecosystems alive and thriving because the animals that live in here, up there, those are the greater kudu. We can actually tell those kudu are female because they don't have any horns on their head. Anyway, it's important to keep these ecosystems alive and thriving because the animals who live in these type of ecosystems, their bodies naturally adapt to them. Like the bongo that we passed, that orange animal, their horns naturally grow backwards like that because they do live in this type of ecosystem. It naturally helps them run through the brush easily. Both the bongo and the greater kudu that we passed, they both use those beautiful markings on their bodies to help hide from predators. However, the greater kudus, theirs are much lighter. Theirs are most helpful in the morning when the sun is peering through the trees. That saddle-billed stork that we passed, their wingspan can reach almost 9 feet across, which is almost as wide as the canopy on top of the truck that you all are sitting under. Alright, let's head out of the forest and into the river. You didn't know this was going to be a water ride. Just kidding, it's not. It could be, though. The weather could change. Alright, welcome to the Safi River. It's important to keep our waterways clean and clear, as I'm sure many of you know, because every living thing on the planet needs it to survive. But it's really important for species of pelicans, such as the pink-backed pelicans down there. The only way pelicans are able to feed, they'll fill up that flabby space underneath of their beak, called a gullet, with as much water and fish as they can. They'll push out the rest of the water and swallow whatever's left over. So if there's a piece of plastic down there, they truly can't do anything to avoid it. The best way to help with that is to reduce how much single-use plastic we use. I personally have reusable shopping bags at my house that I forget at home quite often. Over there on the left side, those are the Nile hippopotamus. They will spend the majority of their time in the water. When they want to come out of the water, it's usually at night to feed. And it's said that they can consume nearly 80 pounds of grass a night. When a whole bunch of them are gathered together like that, that is referred to as a bloat. I too am referred to as a bloat, especially on pizza night. This road wants us to tip in there and have a pool party, but we don't want to do that because they're extremely territorial animals. So let's get out of here before we fall in there with them. Alright, let's see, what else do we got going on? What do I see? What I do see is a crazy looking bridge. That bridge has seen better days. Look how twisted it is. 4 tons. I don't think we're going to make that, but we're going to find out together. Oh, I think we broke something. Lucky for you all, I had a light breakfast. Whew. All right, let's head out of the river and off to the Savannah, which is home to some of Africa's most famous animals. If this truck will make it there. Don't give up on us. Oh, it's given up on us. Come on, I don't want to be stuck in Africa. I have a cat at home who needs me. There it is. Whew. All right. We made it. All right, what do we got? An unusual looking tree there that doesn't have any leaves on it. That's called a baobab tree. Turns out to be really important to the landscape here in Africa because of its ability to store water. This one is a little on the smaller side compared to some that I have seen in my time, but the larger ones are able to store tens of thousands of gallons of water inside of themselves. As I said, they turn out to be pretty important because here in Africa, as I'm sure some of you know, they experience extreme drought that can last for months on end. This tree turns out to be really important because animals rely on it as their source of water during those droughts. They've actually been nicknamed the Tree of Life. Has anybody ever seen a baobab tree fully bloomed? Anybody? Well, actually, you all have. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, the Tree of Life is a baobab tree. Alright, welcome to the Savannah. Let's head down this unnecessarily tiny road and see what is going on down here. That beautiful animal there, that is the Maasai giraffe. That is the tallest land animal on the planet. They are able to reach heights of 20 feet tall. When a whole bunch of them are standing together, that is referred to as a tower, just because of the sheer size of them. So you know how we all have our own individual fingerprints? Well, the same thing can be said about the spots in a giraffe. There are no two giraffes with the exact same markings on their bodies. The same thing can actually be said about zebra, but zebra stripes are so unique that when they're born, they'll actually imprint on their mother's stripes, sort of like scanning a barcode, if you will. Which I do see some zebra way over there, so we'll get over there in a moment and go say hello. They're a little hard to see, but over on the left side, under that really dark green bush laying on the ground, those are the African painted dog. They do have the word dog in their name, but they're not related to the canine species at all. They're a completely different species because they only have 4 toes instead of 5. They're also pack animals, but unlike most pack animals that like to live in larger packs, they choose to live in small packs. As a matter of fact, once their pack gets too large, they will naturally split down the middle, males and females, and go off and start smaller packs, all on their own. Hiding behind that bundle of palm bushes over there, those are the sable antelope. They are special to us. They are the emblem of our reserve. We can actually tell these sable they are female because of how light their coats are. The males, they're much darker. Their coats are nearly jet black. It does sound like we are waiting. We are waiting for a giraffe in front of one of our other trucks down there. You can call that a good old fashioned giraffic jam. Are these jokes doing anything for you all?
Yes.
Here we have ahead of us the Hartman's Mountain Zebra. This particular species of zebra has actually been proven to answer that age-old question. They are black with white stripes, and they're able to tell that by the color of their nose. I do see a baby giraffe way over there. Definitely gonna go over there and say hello. These clay towers you see protruding out of the earth, they're actually termite mounds. This particular species of termite, whose name escapes me at the moment, their saliva is actually able to turn that clay into stone. Could you imagine if the termites in the U.S. were able to do that? Turn a wooden house back into a tree? You're sitting on a gold mine. Something I personally find fascinating about the savannah out here is that human beings truly don't come out here to maintain anything. The animals take care of it all themselves. They cut the grass and they trim the trees. Even if they decide they don't want a tree anymore, they're going to rip it out of the ground. Which is especially true for African elephants. It's quite terrifying to see an African elephant rip a tree out of the ground. There is a giraffe in the way, and now they're not in the way.
Hello.
A lot of people think that they have horns on top of their heads, but they are not horns. They're actually cartilage that over time has hardened into bone. They are called ossicones. I'm going to get out the little one's way because it looks like they want to go join who I would assume is Mom over there. Ahead of us there, those are the wildebeest, also translates to wild beast. I personally find them fascinating based on this one fact, right? That is the second most densely populated mammal on the planet behind human beings. When they migrate, they'll do so in herds of up to 1.5 million, and they'll travel more than 1,000 miles across Africa every single migration period. Isn't that crazy? And those really small ones up there under that really tall tree, those are the springbok. Though they are so small, they are able to jump 6 feet into the air from a let's get out of here. They're able to jump 6 feet into the air from a standing position and leap 13 feet into the distance. I used to be able to do that. I can't do that anymore. I wanted to get out of the giraffe's way because if somebody were to stick their hand out, they would stick their head inside of the truck, which sounds fun, but will turn very chaotic very quickly. Right. Here's another example of just how large those baobab trees can get out there. Do we see anything else that I may have missed? Anybody? No? Alright, let's get out of here and head off to elephant country.
No, pelican.
Just as soon as we squeeze between this rock and this tree. Alright, let's see. What do we got going on over here? I don't see anybody. What I do see over here on the left side, that is the mandrill. That is the largest species of monkey on the planet. We're actually able to tell that they're monkeys because they have that little tail there. This one here is a male because of all of that bright red and blue coloring on their face and their back end. The males, when they reach full maturity, they can weigh a few hundred pounds, which is just astounding for a monkey to weigh that large. The road is closed. That's crazy. I guess we're gonna go left. Oh, there's the African elephant. That is the heaviest land animal on the planet. He's got a giant stick. That's hilarious. Or I said he. I have no idea if that's a male or a female.
Oh, no, I just dropped it.
I'll have to correct myself when I said the heaviest. Only the males are the heaviest at about 15,000 pounds. And believe it or not, they have this truck beat by more than 3,000 pounds. That's how heavy they can get. There's a perfect example of those beautiful ivory tusks that they have. They do need those tusks not only for self-defense, but as I told you all earlier, here in Africa they experience periods of extreme drought. Well, the only way African elephants are able to survive in the wild during those droughts is with those tusks. They need them to dig for water.
Oh, yeah.
They'll also go after the baobab trees as well. Unfortunately, still in 2026, and I can't even believe it's still happening, they are poached for those ivory tusks, which is just awful because once they're poached, they do not grow back. And a lot of elephants that live on reserves like ours are here for a reason. They need that extra care to make sure they can survive. The best way to fight against poaching is don't buy ivory. It devalues it. And if you know somebody who buys ivory, shun them. No, I'm just kidding. Educate them with what you learned here today. They also like to eat all of that red clay that we just drove through. You may ask yourself why. It's actually because it's like a daily multivitamin for them. Red clay is naturally filled with a ton of vitamins and minerals. I do see some more out there. So let's head around the corner and say hello. I personally find their trunks fascinating as well. Their trunks, they have nearly 40,000 muscles inside of their trunks. It's said that they can pick up nearly 3% of their own body weight with their trunks. So I'll let you do the math on that. 3% of 15,000 pounds is really strong, yet delicate enough to pick up a blade of grass. There's a baby elephant out there. This is a good example of what they use those trunks for, such as eating. They'll also use them to breathe, and we'll also use them to drink water. However, when they drink water, the water will not go directly into their system from their trunk. They'll redisperse that water into their mouth.
It's the good old tree of life.
There's a better view of the springbok I talked about earlier, that little itty bitty antelope. That's one of the smallest species of antelope that we have on the reserve. They are cute little things. It's funny to see them run from a distance because they're very fast. They just look like a blob of white flying across the earth. All right, let's head into the water. This might actually be a water ride. Oh, it wasn't that bad. For the record, I would have never have done that in my own car. Neither should you. Don't drive into open water like that. Here we do have the greater flamingo, not to be confused with the lesser flamingo. That's actually a different species of flamingo. These, however, are greater because they are the largest of flamingo. If you see one down there that is abnormally white, it's probably because they are very young. They are not born with that color. They do, however, get that color from what they eat, and they do eat shrimp, but it's not the same shrimp you or I eat. It's more microscopic, called krill, I believe it is. Alright, let's squeeze through these rocks and head to the other side of the reserve and see what is going on. What I do see are some white rhinos. Does anyone know how you can tell the difference between a white and a black rhino?
Nope.
Anybody? Well, it's their lips. Yes, their lips, their mouth. A white rhino does have a more flat lip because they like to graze on grass like a horse, versus a black rhino has a pointed lip because they like to eat leaves and root and bushes. That clay pit you see there in the middle, that is their version of sunscreen as also a way to keep cool. And actually, if you look at some of the trees in the area, the trees are missing their bark. That's actually how they take care of the health of their horns. Their horns are made of the same material our fingernails are made of. Something else they do like a horse is actually gallop, and if you're not familiar with that, while a horse is running, every single foot will leave the ground at the exact same time, as if they're floating. Well, rhinos do the same thing, but at 30 miles an hour, which is crazy. Over there on the left in that back corner, those are the cheetah. That is the fastest land animal on the planet, running at an average of 60 miles an hour. There's another one up here on the left, on the right side over here as well. However, I did just see a video the other day, right? Someone clocked a cheetah out in the wild going 74 miles an hour. Isn't that crazy? Unlike other species of cat, they cannot retract the claws back into their paws. They do stay out all of the time. That does help them run as fast as they do. And unlike lions and tigers, they are not classified as a big cat because they cannot roar. They only purr and chirp like a common house cat. Like my cat, who I'm sure misses me by now, and is asking herself, why did he go to Africa and leave me here? This rock formation is not Pride Rock, but it did inspire Pride Rock. It's called a kopie. Natives here in Africa tend to stay away from kopies because they are, as you can see, home to a pride of lions. That one there, that is a lioness. We are able to tell that because they don't have an abnormal amount of hair around their head, referred to as a mane. That one there, that's the male. When a male lion does reach full maturity, their roar can be heard up to about 5 miles away, which I can't even imagine what that would sound like right next to this truck. It'd probably shake you to your core. It'd shake me to my core. When it comes time to hunt the lioness, they will go out to provide for the pride. All the males will stay back to protect the sick, the young, and the elderly. I thought I saw an ostrich over there, so let's go over and see where they went. In the meantime, though, I do see some burrows in the earth down there, so definitely keep your eyes peeled. Something might come popping out. Common animals that like to burrow in that. Oh, there's a warthog back there. They kind of look like giant rocks. We can actually tell those warthog they are female because they don't have as many or more prominent warts on their faces versus the males do. Other animals that like to burrow in Africa are groundhog, that's hilarious. Prairie dog. Anyway, there are the ostrich. Just an example of how tall they are. They are taller than that truck. That is the fastest two-legged animal on the planet at an average speed of 45 miles an hour. They're also a flightless bird. I don't know about you, but if I saw a bird that large flying through the sky, I'd never go outside. Over there on the right side, those are the ostrich eggs, a nest of them. When they do lay those eggs, they can weigh about 3 pounds, which is roughly about 2 dozen chicken eggs. Anyway, since we're in the area, let's go see what the warden is up to. But more importantly, the warden's goats. I do like his goats. I can already see them. They are funny little things because they like to be on top of everything. And if it wasn't for the warden's fence down there, they'd be on top of this truck just like they're on top of that truck. These are the Nigerian dwarf goats. They are a common farm animal here in Africa. They do produce milk and cheese. You'll have to forgive me, I can't remember the name of the company, but you can purchase lotion and body soap made from their milk, and the proceeds will go to animal conservation. So a fun little way to help and get a little treat in return. Look at the goat in the back of that truck. That's hilarious. Why is that so funny to me?
Oh my goodness.
They do have those little pot bellies because they have a stomach similar to a cow's. There are 4 chambers inside of their stomach. Everybody say bye, goats.
Bye, goats.
Are you all having a good time? Yes. Well, you gotta love time travel because it's been another 2 weeks. Welcome back to Disney's Animal Kingdom. We do care deeply about the animals on this earth, especially those that are endangered, which is why we set up the Disney Wildlife Conservation Fund. Ours is super easy to donate to. You just gotta go into one of our retail locations and throw some money at them and they'll throw a button at you. We're gonna match a donation up to $1 million, which means we're gonna send out $2 million. And because we're Disney, we're gonna take it a step further and cover the administrative fees and hidden fees that a lot of people don't know about to make sure 100% of the proceeds go to the animals and organizations that need help the most. We are heavily accredited and respected by the Aquarium and Zoo Association, the AZA, because of our work that we do with endangered animals. As a matter of fact, out of the entire reserve you saw today, we actually have another one off in the back that is filled with nothing but extremely endangered animals. Unfortunately, no one is allowed to go back there, but that's okay because it's for a good cause. The AZA also partnered with us to help the most endangered species of tiger on the planet, which is the Sumatran tiger. There's only, it's said that there's only about 400 to 700 left out in the wild. Well, here at Animal Kingdom, we have been successfully helping get their numbers back up for a few years now. Our newest one is about 1.5 years old. It's not really a cub anymore, but he still likes to play with this giant ball that they gave him. He's over at the Maharaja Jungle Trek, which is directly behind the entrance to Kali River Rapids. So definitely go over there and say hello for me since I am on this truck. If there are any wilderness explorers on board, you are on board the Simba 1. That is your code word to get your badge from someone with one of those orange satchels at the end of this. Meep, meep. Some of these trucks sound like the Roadrunner from that cartoon. Not that one. Some of them do. Well, folks, we don't like to say goodbye here, so I won't, but instead I will say Kwaherini. which does mean go well. So folks, go well, go wild, enjoy the rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and thank you for joining me.